I would also welcome our beloved principal, Honorable Dr. Vijay Jagtap sir, for this session. Welcome for this third day first session. And I would further request Dr. Rohan Barsi sir to introduce our today's resource person, Dr. Ramat Dayas sir. I hand over the session to Dr. Barsi sir.
Thank you, madam. Good morning, one and all. Respected Dr. Remit Dayas sir completed B Pharmacy in 1990.
Sir, kindly unmute yourself. Barsi sir, kindly unmute yourself. You're not audible.
Is it audible now? Yes.
Yes,
Is
sir.
it audible? Yes. Is it audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Respected Dr. Remit Dayas sir completed B Pharmacy in 1996 to 2002. Further, sir completed M Pharmacy in 2002. Then, sir completed PhD in 2008. Did MD Executive in 2010. Further, postgraduate diploma in patent laws in 2012. So, with this brief academic experience, sir also have 25 years academic experience. She was firstly lecturer into the MES College of Pharmacy, Chiklut in 1996 to 2002. Further, assistant professor, associate professor, and in charge principal at Satara College of Pharmacy, Satara from 2002 to 2011. Then, sir was professor from 2011 to 2012 at STES, Srinagar College of Pharmacy Sciences, Lonavala. Then, sir also director at Yashoda Technical Campus, Satara at 2012 to 2017. Further, sir was HOD at Jalgaon from 2017 to 2020. Then, after 2020 to till date, Dr. Raymond Dyer is head of department at Government College of Pharmacy, Karhat. Sir also have brief experience into the research that is with 86 publications, also the citation scores 1590, H index 20, I index 42, and Dyer also having the number of presentations that is 40 and books 24. Sir also guided 42 MPharm and 3 PhD students. Sir also having a lot of administrative experience with the also having the FDPs, workshops, conferences in the capacity as chief coordinator, convener, and member of the organizing body. Sir also motivated the students, faculty with invited talks and trained more than number of faculties. Sir certified from CMI Chartered Management Institute, UK for level 5 certificate in management and leadership. With this brief introduction, Sir is also the member of various professional bodies and work for its welfare. Sir also work as chairman, member, local inquiry committee, expert staff selection committee, center superintendent for JEE, GPAT representative. Dr. Dyer sir honored as Outstanding Excellence Award during international conference held at University College International Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia in the year 2023. Sir also won national level PC Career Memorial Award for Equity Teachers and Principal of the year 2018. Sir also won Healthcare Icon Award during Healthcopia Conclave 2023 held at New Delhi. Sir also won Best Teacher Award by Yashoda Shikshan Prasar Mandal Satara in year 2014. Sir also won Best Research Paper Award at IJPR in 13th Annual National Convocation into the 2008 at Bilaspur. Sir also won second prize for oral presentation at International Conference held at Malaysia in the year 2023. So with this brief introduction, I really honored to introduce Dr. Raymond Dyer. So thank you this opportunity, sir and ma'am. And I kindly request to hand over session to Dr. Raymond Dyer, sir. Thank you, sir.
One minute. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Good morning, dear colleagues. At the outset, let me be thankful to honorable organizers, Dr. Vijay Jagtap sir, principal. I'm very much thankful to Mr. Tushar Rukri sir and Gayatri Atalekar madam. I will be presenting on the importance of ICT tools and pedagogical techniques in outcome-based education. Let me present. Yeah. Okay. So, dear colleagues, hope you can see my presentation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, I welcome you to this presentation on ICT tools and advanced pedagogy. At the end of this session, you will be able to explain the need of ICT tools and advanced pedagogy for OBE. Discuss various components of teaching learning process and how we are going to focus this teaching learning process and how it is going to be useful for outcome-based education. You will be able to apply various ICT tools and pedagogical techniques and how we can enhance the learning outcomes by utilizing the effective strategy for teaching learning process. So these four outcomes we have kept in mind, and let us start this journey so that at the end we can have achieved these learning outcomes. Yes, already you have done few sessions on outcome-based education. And if you see OBE, outcome-based education, the design starts from vision and mission. Whatever the vision and mission which is crafted by the management with the help of the teaching, non-teaching, and students. So this vision and mission, based on this, the program educational objectives are framed, because in this consultation process, all the stakeholders are present. Once the POs are in front of our eyes, we go for the program outcomes, and the course outcomes are also designed. So you can see the design starts from this, but the delivery of OBE starts in another way. It starts from course outcomes. For the specific subject, what are the course outcomes and whether those course outcomes have been achieved or not, that it becomes very important. The course outcomes, once those are achieved, those can be mapped with the program outcomes. Whatever the COs and POs are there, that can be mapped with the POs, and then it can be mapped with vision and mission. So the delivery which takes place, it starts from COs and goes back towards the vision and mission. So design, yes, it starts from vision, but when we actual work for the or deliver the things, it starts from course outcomes. And therefore, you should always remember these course outcomes are important. And when the course outcomes are important, if you want to achieve this course level outcomes, you have to go first for teaching learning process. And that makes teaching learning process a very important aspect if you want to achieve whether the course outcomes, program outcomes, POs or mission. All these outcomes will be assessed based on what teaching learning process that has taken place in the institute. So as the teaching learning process starts, we have the curriculum. So curriculum covers all the syllabus, the pedagogy, the learning process, and the assessment of it. Yeah, kindly mute yourself. Dear participants, you are requested to mute yourself so that we can go ahead.
Done, sir. Done, sir.
Yeah. So in the teaching learning process, we have syllabus in front of you, in front of us, and what pedagogy I am going to utilize so that this teaching learning process will give us the outcome which we are expecting. So if I get these outcomes, whether those outcomes have been achieved or not, that I can find it from the assessment. So this teaching learning process, which is starting from the curriculum, it goes towards the pedagogy. We go for the teaching learning process and we assess whether we have achieved the outcomes or not. So when we go for assessment, we go for course outcomes, we go for program outcomes, we go for PEOs and mission, and that we check. And whenever these are achieved, we don't wait there only. We have to act for further improvement cycle, whether learning outcomes, if something has not been achieved, how I am going to achieve it nicely this time. So for continuous improvement, we go for planning of learning outcomes, learning activities, learning assessments, and then this total process goes on. So we plan, we do, we check, and we act. So all this OBE goes on like this. And therefore, my dear friends, this teaching learning process is important. And when this teaching learning process is important, we go for pedagogical techniques. We go for ICT tools so that the learning outcomes can be achieved. So I think this makes you very clear about the need of ICT tools and the pedagogical techniques. Because if you're not going to use a right way of pedagogical technique or the pedagogical strategy, then the teaching learning process might be failed. And when we are using ICT, because there is not a single student whom you will find that they are not using a phone or they are not familiar with ICT. So if that has become a change, then why not we can use the ICT tools so that our learning outcomes can be achieved. Okay, so having said this, let's move further and let us focus on program outcomes. A student after 12th passing, he comes to the pharmacy education, whether it is diploma or degree, and when we think of program outcomes or the graduate attributes, those graduate attributes are like PO1 is a pharmacy knowledge, PO2 modern tool usage, PO3 are the leadership skills, PO4 professional identity, PO5 pharmaceutical ethics, PO6 communication, PO7 is pharmacist and society, PO8 environment and sustainability, and PO9 for diploma is lifelong learning, and these become PO11 for degree purpose. Here the slide was for diploma, so PO9. So if you can see PO1 pharmacy knowledge, whatever the curriculum, whatever the syllabus has been designed, we are focusing more on pharmacy knowledge. But when we are talking of OBE, outcome-based education, you will come to know that only the syllabus coverage is not going to achieve our POs, program outcomes. How we are going to achieve? Maybe some modern tool usage, you can get PO2 also during your syllabus. But what about leadership skills? What about the professional identity, ethics, communications, environment and sustainability, society, lifelong learning? Whether these type of program outcomes are we going to achieve just by passing whatever subjects those have been given? That is an important thought process that we should think on. If we want that every student from my class needs to have that leadership skills, that ethics in him, the proper communication, he has that empathy towards the society, he is a lifelong learner, he is taking care of environment and thinking about the sustainability, that how the program outcomes are going to be achieved only through the syllabus, which is by teaching the subjects.
Sir, please unmute yourself and start.
Yes. So if you want to achieve all these program outcomes, there needs to be use of suitable strategies for achieving all these POs. Many times this question comes, and many times I ask all the participants that how I'm going to achieve these POs. Many of the participants or teachers say that we keep some lectures, a lecture on ethics, or somebody says that there is one chapter on ethics in pharmaceutical jurisprudence or pharmacy law and ethics subject. But the question comes, just by learning one chapter, whether this ethics is going to be a part of that student, whether by conducting one leadership program, whether all the students are going to be the leaders, whether they are going to be empathetic towards the society. And the answer is no. How I can bring this ethics into my students day in and day out? What strategy I can implement inside the classroom or in the practical lab so that the ethics will come into him? That is important. Therefore, the program outcomes, no, only by arranging few lectures of experts, these POs cannot be achieved. And therefore, pedagogical strategy needs to be, no, you want to have this communication, for example, proper communication in every student. What can I use some strategy like that of a group discussion? Can I use some methodology like think, pair, share strategy? Can I use some cooperative strategy or collaborative strategy of teaching so that the actual participation of every student is ensured, so that the communication of a student, every student will increase or improve? So it all depends. This PO6 can be achieved in every lecture, in every practical, only if we are going to use some strategy, pedagogical technique, so that this PO6 can be achieved, the communication. Am I going to use some maybe activity inside the practical where the students, I can just check whether they are following some ethics or not. If I'm not going to judge this ethics, whether they are following into the practicals inside the classroom in their behavior, then I think PO5 cannot be achieved by only just teaching them as a chapter, ethics as a chapter. It is not going to be. How I'm going to take care of this identity, professional identity? If that we want professional identity, how this professionalism is going to come into the students? What are the ways? How I'm going to ensure in every lecture that professionalism has come into the students? Maybe every lecture it may not be possible, but sometimes I need to find out whether this leadership skill I can put. Can I divide my classroom or in a laboratory into some groups, and where every group will be headed by somebody who can become a leader? And when he's a leader, he's going to work. Maybe you have a project-based learning or problem-based learning where that leader is going to take care of other team. So teamwork will also come. So can I use some strategy so that leadership skills will come into it? How this lifelong learning is going to come into the students? What strategy I can utilize so that they can learn something? And mind you well, when you are planning your lessons, in that only this type of strategies needs to be put by every teacher, so that you can think that how I can achieve these program outcomes just by taking the COs. Yes, I will say that I will map it with the POs. I will take the POs, I will map it with the mission, and just we will say that yes, it has been achieved. And if this is not being achieved, I'm going to conduct one lecture, extra lecture from guest lecture, and I'm going to show this. So it is not whether you are achieving COs and POs just for the documentation purpose. The philosophy of OBE, you should understand that yes, as a teacher, how much efforts I have taken to bring that ethical component into my student, whether each and every student is communicating properly with others or not, whether he has that empathetic nature towards the society and the environment, that is a important thought should come into the mind of a teacher. He has to ensure that. Then only our lecture will be proper. Just to cover the syllabus is not the teacher's responsibility. It is the responsibility when I focus on POs, every lecture, every practical, what a PO I am going to achieve today, with what strategy, that is important. And therefore, my dear friends, if you want to achieve these POs, if you want to live the OBE philosophy, then pedagogical knowledge, pedagogical strategy utilization is very, very important. Without that, it is impossible for any teacher to achieve these POs. That's what I feel. If you want to make the things very fast, because if you conduct one exam and check every paper and every activity, it will take lot much of time. Can I use ICT? ICT can be a part of mine so that it will help me to achieve this, because we have only 1 hour of lecture. In that I have to conduct an activity. In that I have to assess everything I need to do. Therefore, dear friends, if you are thinking of OBE, if you are thinking that all these COs, POs needs to be achieved by you, then remember, pedagogical techniques and ICT tools are very, very important. Okay. Now, if you go to National Education Policy 2020 goals, I'm not taken because my lecture is not focused on NEP. I'm just taking few goals there. It is said, enabling a learner-centered model of teaching learning. That is the goal of NEP. When we are focusing on learner-centered model, pedagogy is important. ICT tools are important. How I'm going to transform all the assessment from summative to formative, because this continuous assessment is important. What I have taught today in the classroom has been understood by every student or not. So can I have that formative type of assessment in every lecture? It is required. Use some ICT tool for that. And that whatever formative assessment you have done on that lecture is going to be a form of a record of yourself, that how this student for last all 75 lectures has done, yeah, in my every lecture. That type of transformation needs to be done. ICT integration in teaching and learning methodology. So NEP goals, all these three components have come. If you can see NEP document, you will find that curriculum should be reduced. Why? Maybe whatever they are learning, they should be able to think critically. The classes should be interactive. We should bring that experiential learning into the classroom, into the practicals, through the field visits. These things are very important. That is what the NEP says. No need that they should learn everything. Just face the exams. That's all. No. If the student has done one subject, he should be able to critically think on given topic. Let them not perform only by facing an exam at the end. That should be interactive classes. There should be experiential learning, collaborative type of learning, by which they deeper student learning will. Not only this, NEP 2020 focuses on innovative pedagogy. Okay, and when they say innovative pedagogy, use and integration of technology is a must. Experiential learning is a must. Integrated pedagogy is important. And come on, promote peer tutoring. When we go into a classroom, maybe 1 hour lecture is there, and out of that, if I'm going to teach to cover the syllabus 55 minutes, then I am just doing the duty of giving the information. But in that 60 minutes, if I'm going to teach only for 20 minutes and rest of the time, it is an opportunity for the students to think. If you are going to provide by taking some activity where their peers are involved in tutoring, in understanding, in some collaborative or cooperative activity, then we are thinking really of transforming the teaching learning process. Okay, now let us think and reflect on one question. If you are attentive, why ICT tools and advanced pedagogical techniques are needed? The first 5-6 slides I have covered the importance of ICT tools and advanced pedagogical techniques. And I just want whatever the thoughts are coming into your mind, that these ICT tools and advanced pedagogical techniques are important, then let us proceed further. Okay, I want the answer to this question, and for that I'm just going towards the Mentimeter. The question is there. I want you to use www.menti.com and use code, or otherwise I will just even in the presentation itself I will give you this. Okay, so you go to www.menti.com, use code 26952744 and answer this question: why ICT tools and advanced pedagogical techniques are needed. Okay, you can use the link also, or you can even scan the QR code which is there. Okay, so that you can. Okay, so use code 26952744. I'm going towards the slide. Yes, you can use 26952744. There are 0 responses. Hope at least 5 attendees from 188 attendees will answer this question: why ICT tools? Only one word you have to write. Okay. Fundamental. So maybe pedagogical techniques are fundamental. Okay. To nurture pattern. Okay. Go ahead. Why ICT tools are needed? Why pedagogical techniques are needed? Okay. Classroom environment is important. Okay. To achieve goal, I can say that achieving the learning outcomes, those were expected by the teacher. Good. Yes, achieve learning outcomes. Yes. Personalized learning. Good. Student engagement. Very nice. Time management. A few more. Come on, use this menti.com and answer to this 26952744. Today's need. Good. Facilitate the learning, student learning improvement. So nice of you. So nice of you. Develop skill in students. So dear participants, now it is very clear that these various advanced pedagogical techniques are the need of today. We have to use ICT tools because so many answers you have given. It's the student engagement. It is the time management. It is the achievement of learning outcomes, for facilitating the learning, for encouraging the interactive learning, participation of the students. We require various advanced pedagogical techniques. Okay, so the first outcome which I had focused, that need of ICT tools and advanced pedagogical techniques, that has been achieved because you people have given these answers and you have proved that yes, ICT tools and advanced pedagogical techniques are required. Okay. Now let us move further. Okay, so thank you, dear participants, for participating in this one of the best ICT tool, that is Mentimeter, where you can take the feedback. of inside the classroom in the real time whenever you want, because in every lecture, because all the students are bringing the mobiles, you can use them so that at the end you can see, you can ask one of the question, or you can conduct a quiz, or you can, but by various ways you can use the ICT tools to understand and keep this record forever. Now let us concentrate, because once we know that it is the pedagogical techniques, those are important. Once we know it is the teaching learning process which is fundamental in achieving the COs, in achieving the POs, and thereby the mission of your institute. Therefore, let's focus on teaching learning process. The first thing, learning outcomes. Very, very important, because if a teacher doesn't put forth the learning outcomes for every session, yes, every chapter, yes, for a course, yes, for a chapter, yes, for a unit, yes, and every lecture also, there should be some learning outcomes, and keeping those learning outcomes in mind only, your other strategies should come, so that the total teaching learning process will be successful. So it's the first thing, learning outcomes, how to frame it, how to make it happen, how to achieve those learning outcomes. Okay. Second thing is content creation, how this content should be good. If your content is not good, if content is wrong, the students are going to learn wrong. And therefore, it is the responsibility of a teacher to come up with a right content which can be given to the students, because the assimilation of the participants with the content takes place, by which the learning is going to happen. So content is very, very important. In this teaching learning process, the third thing which is important is a teaching strategy. You have framed the learning outcomes, the content is ready with you, but you have not thought of suitable teaching strategy. Then it is going to be a problem. Because whatever the classroom teaching we are doing, maybe only by blackboard, or where I am giving you online lecture, only I am going to tell something. Others are not engaged, others are not participating, then the learning is not going to happen. So teaching strategy, what teaching strategy I'm going to use? Dear friends, it has been proved there is not a single creature, or you can say human being, it is not possible for him to focus on certain topic more than 8 to 12 minutes, at the most 12 minutes. So maybe you are teaching into a classroom for 12 or 15 minutes, not more than that, and thereafter there should be some strategy which you are going to utilize, which will be totally different. If this strategy you are not going to use, then the students are not going to be engaged. They are not going to be interested in learning what you are.
Sir, please unmute yourself.
So teaching strategy is very, very important for day in, day out, for every lecture, because after 12 to 15 minutes, I have to change my strategy inside the classroom so that the students can focus on whatever learning is happening inside the classroom. So third important part, that is teaching strategy. Now let us move ahead. The fourth important part is a classroom management. It is not that it's only a classroom. Everywhere, whether you are teaching the students in the practical room or you are teaching them below the tree, it doesn't. So how you're going to manage that environment, that is important. So classroom management is the right type of environment for utilizing right type of strategy so that the learning process will happen properly. Now, right classroom management is also done, but the student interaction is not happening. There are only certain students who are giving the answers, others are not interested at all. Then even that time teaching learning process is not going to be successful. And therefore, how I'm going to ensure the student interaction in every activity inside the classroom? That is very important. And then comes the assessment, because every lecture, what feedback I am getting, whether everybody has understood the concept which has so far has been taught. So that feedback needs to be assessed. Okay. So these are important components, 6 components, which will ensure that teaching learning process has been successfully completed during my session or during my lecture. Learning outcomes, start with learning outcomes, go towards content creation, use effective teaching strategy inside a right environment through classroom management, ensure the student interaction and get their feedback. That will make your teaching learning process outcome based. Now, I don't want to focus much on learning outcomes because already you know what are learning outcomes. But I want to make a point that whenever you are framing the learning outcomes, it is not only the cognitive level thinking or the knowledge, this one, because many times we come up with the learning outcomes which are focused on the cognitive domain. We also have a psychomotor domain where the skills are given to the students. It's not only that, what affective domain we are going to take care through our this one, how the attitude can be changed, how the self-awareness can be improved, how the emotions can be managed during the lecture or the practical, how I'm going to do this. So all 3 domains are important. Every domain has its own place. And if you want to achieve all the POs, the learning outcomes which are framed by a teacher should be from all. Sometimes it is possible that, because many times just for the documentation purpose, we just go for the framing of the learning outcomes, we just to show the document. It's not that. My target of achieving something from out of learning out of my lecture is there, then what this one? Sometimes I should think that how to respect the others' view. This is a affective domain, and that outcome I want through my this one. Therefore, I have kept the group discussion, and I am going to watch the group discussion where I can see that all are obeying or keeping the respect of others as a colleague. If somebody is not doing that, I need to make him learn that. Because every creature in this world is important, and therefore we should always give respect to the colleagues also. So how I'm going to do that? Okay, your point is right, no problem. But how you are going to make that point in group discussion without harming others' respect? That is important. So I need to focus in today's practical or in today's lecture or in today's session how these emotions can be controlled or how the skills can be taught. So it is totally a teacher's domain to come up with learning outcomes. Just don't copy learning outcomes from somebody else. No, you have to have that POs and COs in front of you every now and then you have to frame the learning outcomes for that topic, for that lecture. But we can say it as a unit outcomes or lecture outcomes also. How I'm going to take care of cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, affective domain, and then frame this and how I can achieve it inside. If I'm not going to bring those affective domain into play, then many of your POs are not going to be achieved. When I say leadership skill we are going to achieve as a PO, then the leader is the one who is taking his team together. He is leading from the front. So there should be a leader who should have the skill, who is taking all the team members together. So that skill he should have, or that type of attitude should be developed. And that can be developed when you are framing some activity for learning. That you can PO, you can correlate. Okay, so cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domain, all these three are important that you should remember. And therefore, no, whenever you are framing this, even learning outcomes, curriculum gaps, when I'm going to identify the job opportunity is very important thing, from which this is a job opportunity. For example, marketing is a job opportunity, pharmaceutical marketing. And if I say that job opportunity is there, what are the competencies required for pharmaceutical marketing that as a teacher I should know? The competencies required are he should be good at communication. He should be good in convincing others. The competency required is he need to make friendships or make the relationships with the doctors, with the pharmacist, with the wholesalers, with the company. So many relationships he has to develop. So whether he's interested in making the relationships, how, whether it is possible for him to do the presentation, whether it is possible for him to do the detailing in front of a doctor, whether it is possible for him to increase the sales by. So those are the competencies which you need to jot down. And if those competencies are required, I'm going to map it with curriculum. And if it is not present there, then I can identify the gap. The job which is required is a pharmaceutical marketing. There is nothing inside of my curriculum. Then how I am going to identify that gap and what I am going to do for that gap, that type of learning outcome I should have for certain this one. That is also the second thing which you should always have in your mind. While, because many a times people say there is no curriculum gap, but there is. When you look for various job opportunities, you can identify the gaps. Okay, now let us come towards this one. So Bloom's taxonomy. When we go into cognitive domain, we start with remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating 6 different types of hierarchical skills, you can say. So you can see lower order thinking skills and higher order thinking skills. So how I am going to go towards higher, creating something? If a pharmacist is present who is going to work in a pharmacy, he should be able to dispense. So my question should be, dispense this medicine. What are the essential steps of dispensing, whether he follows or not? So he's directly creating something. So that type of, we can go for higher level, BTL levels. So I need to think how I'm going to achieve the higher order thinking skills that will be given, because NEP says, OBE says, we want that the levels of learning can be increased, BTL levels, we have to focus on higher levels. Okay. So in cognitive domain, we have this. If you go into psychomotor domain, imitate, manipulate, precision, articulation, naturalization. When we say imitation, we are just copying it something. It's a just lower level. But if you go towards a naturalization, if something needs to be done, naturally it happens from you. That type of skill or expertise you have achieved, so that naturally you can do it. If something is asked, you do it because you are such an expert into that. So how these levels can be achieved, starting from imitate, manipulate, precision, with precision I am doing, articulating, and naturalization. So which level I'm looking forward to from the given experiment, whether they are going to just imitate, or after so many practicals, whether it becomes a naturalization. So higher levels, how I am going to achieve it. If you come to the affective domain, receiving, how a single student is receiving something. A situation has happened, how he is receiving it. Once he receives, how he is responding it. Whether certain things he is valuing or not, what value he is giving to it, how he can organize and how he can characterize, because characterization, because everybody says your character is very important. When the characterization happens, you say that he is a person who is of a jolly nature. How that has come into his character? Just by going through all these levels, that has been characterized into a person. So how I'm going to characterize it into my student, that is important. So these, even in affective domain we have. So when you are planning for learning outcomes, all these things are important that you should understand. All three domains you should keep up in front of you, and based on your focus for achieving the outcomes, you should frame your learning outcomes. Okay. I think learning outcomes, how to frame, I'm not going to talk much on it. Okay. You can use Bloom's action verbs. Verbs are very, very important. Don't use something like which cannot be, to know something. You can't. Knowing means what? Action verb. I will be able to perform or apply something like that. It should be. So for example, you can see the students will be able to apply diagnosis and procedure codes according to current guidelines with 70% accuracy or better. So apply is a action verb. Apply is action verb. We should start whenever it should be action verb you should start with. So when you commit apply, it comes to the Bloom's level 3 from the cognitive domain. Okay, so likewise, you can frame the learning outcomes and you should focus how you are going to achieve it. The first part was learning outcomes. Framing of learning outcomes is very, very important, which you should go for. The second thing is the content creation. Right content is very, very important, and that right content, when you want to do, it starts with lecture planning. Second component is lecture notes, or you can say it as a handouts, which needs to be given, maybe in a soft copy or maybe in a handouts which are to be distributed to your students. The third part is visual presentation. Maybe sometimes you are going to have a visual presentation, or you can go for the videos, or you can go for the animations, or you can even use some feedback mechanism. So all these things are important during the content creation. So how you are going to create this content is also important. The first part was learning outcomes. We are talking about second part of the content creation. If your content is right, if your content is proper, then this content needs to be given to the students. Okay, so now let us focus on the first part of content creation, which is a lesson planning. Many a times, because we say that we have studied pharmacy, and therefore we have not been taught how to plan the lesson. We are not knowing, okay, learning outcome was another thing, lesson planning, today's lesson, how I am going to plan. So this is a model, 7E model, came in way back in 1982. But still we are not using it, or sometimes we may use. But if this type of model you can use, you are going to ensure that the students have learned something out of whatever content you have given. So the 7 E's, you can remember, it starts with the first E, that is called as elicit. Second E is engage, how you are going to increase the engagement of the student. Third, how you are going to ask your students to explore. Fourth is explain. Fifth is elaborate. Sixth, maybe extend, or you can go to evaluate, and then you can go to extend. So you will find these 7 E's. And if you use these 7 E's into your teaching process, I feel the teaching learning process will be very, very successful, where the learning outcomes from each and every student can be achieved. Let us go further. You can see this. Okay, 1982, Thompson has given this 7E method. Okay, if I can say, what is the big picture? The big picture is, I'm going to take a chapter called as, yeah, in neuropharmacology, just I want in human anatomy and physiology to make them understand neurons. This is a lesson plan for neurons. The learning outcome. Okay, you have to frame the learning outcomes. What will be the learning outcomes? The learning outcome, the student will be able to draw the diagram of neuron, discuss various types of neurons. Third, correlate the structure with its function. Okay, of neuron. This is what the learning outcome I can frame here, and I can write into my lesson plan 1, 2, 3. Now, first E, which is nothing but is elicit. So what happens in elicit is what they already know. You should know that what they already know, that you should find out. Now you can see in every this one, it is the time box is also given, how many time I am going to give. If I am going to cover neurons in 2 lectures, say, and if I'm going to give this elicit for 10 minutes, what a strategy I'm going to use it for eliciting what they already know. Can I come up with some type of quiz, or can I use some, maybe one question I can give to them and ask them to come on in pairs, you think, and then you can share it. What you know about neurons. Have you heard something? Can you discuss something? Because their participation is there, but we just want to know that what they already know, that we want to see. Okay. So this is the first part. So here I can write, okay, whether they know the structure of neuron or what they know about neuron. Now, when the second E is there in the lesson plan, engage, prick their interest. They know little. So how I can increase that interest in studying the neuron is important. So I'm going to engage. Engaging means increasing or improving the interest into the topic. So what activity I will take so that the students will be engaged into it. Once their interest is increased, how I'm going to use this third E of exploring, first hand experience to build the concept, exploring how they can explore. Maybe the interest has come that neurons are the ones which are eliciting the response in milliseconds. But can we explore how many types of neurons are present? Let them explore, let them use some resources so that this exploring can take place. How much time I'm going to give them for the exploring? So once elicit, engage, explore is over, the explanation should be given. The student should be able to explain this. So whatever they have learned up till now, explored up till now, they will be able to explain, or I can say they will summarize what their information. So they are going to explain into this. How much time we are going to give that? Not only this means going to explain, but they are also going to demonstrate or elaborate. They will elaborate. And whatever has happened, then we can go, or we can give some resources to them. Come on, apply this to unfamiliar concept. So that becomes extension. And what learning has taken place, that can be evaluated by the seventh E through self-assessment or peer assessment. So if I take neuron as a chapter today and I want to finish it, maybe in 2 lectures or maybe in 1 lecture, how I'm going to use this 7 E's during my lecture so that the actual learning can take place. This is what my lesson plan is. Elicit, engage, explore, explain, elaborate, extend, and evaluate. 7 E's. How much time you are. So that type of lesson plan needs to be prepared by every teacher so that there is no need that you are making 3-4 paper. Only one sheet on which you are just jotting it down. For eliciting, I will ask this question. For making them engage, I will plan for this activity. Maybe for 5 to 10 minutes only, but within that activity or that activity by which they can come next lecture and they can discuss there inside the classroom. So like type of lesson plan needs to be, okay. We were considering neuron. Just I will run through the neuron, this one. So the neuron, what is my learning objective? Explain how the neuron is adapted for its function. That is my learning outcome, learning objective. And for that learning outcomes I have framed is label a neuron using keywords: axon, myelin sheath, dendrites. So this is labeling the neuron is the first learning outcome I have planned for. Describe the role of a neuron or a nerve cell in the nervous system. Name 3 examples of neurons. So this is the second outcome that we want to achieve. And the third one is explain how the neuron is adapting to its function. This is my 3 learning outcomes that I have framed as a teacher. And then I am using these 7 E's in my lesson plan. Elicit. How is this cell the same as an animal cell or different to an animal cell? This is my question which I am going to ask. What strategy? This is a pedagogy. This is a cooperative type of learning. So strategy which I have used or pedagogy I have used is think, pair, share. On every desk, I've asked 2 people to come together, and in a pair, they are going to think how this. So illicit activities, I have asked the question how the animal cell is different to this neuron. So they will think, they will pair, and they will share. And that type of strategy I am going to use within this 5 minutes or 10 minutes. My first activity is over of eliciting. So this is what should be there as a lesson plan, how you are going to implement it. Second, I want to make that engagement more engagement. And for that reason, what I have done is how fast are electric signals. The students, the brain can respond to touch, smell, taste, stimuli in just 0.1 seconds. You can think sound and even the vision takes longer than this. So you can see how your neurons are important because there's electric signals 0.1 seconds. So just for engagement. So they will now, yes, yeah, neurons, they're faster than the sound and vision. So how I'm going to make this? So come on, now they will say nerve impulses travel because they will engage, they will find the resources and they will come. Nerve impulses travel at up to 320 million miles per hour and take just 0.02 seconds to reach the brain. 0.02 seconds. So this is what the engagement question is. How fast are electric signals? Nerve impulses, how they are. So they will come on, they will engage themselves. Now you can see what are neurons. They will study. They are composed of axons and dendrites. Okay. So likewise, they will come. Nerve fiber. Now when you will give them the activity for exploration, maybe in the group of 4, you can ask that they can create a poster or a model where they will be judged by using a rubric, whether it's accuracy of model, what is its aesthetic appearance, and teamwork. Now you can see the results. Maybe one lecture you have given for them or in the homework they have done, and 2 groups have given there. They have prepared, a model, how this neuron can be this one. So now they are totally involved in the neuron, and once they have prepared a model, they will never forget how are the dendrites, axons, and nerve cell body, where it is. Okay, so now you can as a team how they have done it. You can even mark depending upon the models which they have done. So exploring they have done. Now they will be able to explain because they have already explored. How do neurons look like? They will be able to explain it. Now will come what are sensory neurons? How they are different from the motor neurons. Okay. So they will be able to describe the structure of the neuron, and when they demonstrate, they will label this neuron. If every student can label this neuron, that means they are able to summarize it. They have understood what the neuron is, and then they can go for the self-assessment or peer assessment where how much they have done it. So maybe in the after elaborating, when you are evaluating them, these things can be taken place. Okay, so they can do even the self-assessment. This will ensure whether the proper learning has happened or not. And in the extension, you can ask, can you discuss some motor neuron diseases? Stephen Hawking's, from which motor neuron disease he was suffering from. They may watch the videos, and that will make them very much clear. So that was the extension. And then lastly, you will evaluate whether the learning outcomes have been achieved or not, whether every student can label a neuron, whether they can describe it, and whether they can explain how they are functioning. If this has been possible, your whole lesson planning you have done and you have implemented it, and the learning outcome has been achieved. This is what the way the teacher has to plan his every chapter, that is called as a lesson planning. Okay, so that was the first part of the content creation, learning outcome. Then you can maybe the lecture notes or handouts. You can see when you give the lecture or prepare the lecture notes or handouts. This is compulsory as far as your outcome-based education is. This one page, one page. I'm not. We are not talking about the whole lecture notes you have written and you are providing it to the students. It's a one page can also do, which will contain learning outcomes. You should also mention them what pedagogy. Maybe for this one I am going to use TPS, think pair share, or in some activity I am going to organize, or I am going to write something regarding maybe the quiz I am going to conduct. So that type of what pedagogy method I am going to use, cooperative, collaborative, those type of things I'm going to write in this one. Or you can just describe the activity there. Or maybe you are going to have a diagram for which they are going to label it after the neuron. We have seen already lesson plan. So that a diagram of a neuron can be written over there, and those labeling will be done after the studies. That can also be given. And then how you're going to assess it, because here the diagram has been drawn and you're going to assess it. So all these things will come up apart from the references. So this becomes your lecture notes or handouts that can be kept into the your notebook or OBE, and even you can distribute it to every student, and that lecture note or handout can be taken back so that you can assess it. After assessing, once again you can give it to them, no problem. This can be done even as a soft copy, but lecture notes or handouts needs to be given, because the student will come to know what are learning outcomes. They can assess themselves whether the learning outcomes which have been given by a faculty has been achieved or not. That's called self-assessment, or the peers can check it. Okay, so likewise you have to go for the lecture notes. Now the visual presentation. Why visual presentation? Already I have explained you the attention span is not much. So the engagement needs to be improved. So visual presentation can improve the attention span. Learning styles of every students are different, and therefore there might be few people who are visually active. Their learning style is a visual style. Therefore the PowerPoints, videos, pictures, maps, graphs, this will make them learn more easily. Therefore we have to have the visual presentation also. There might be auditory style of learning. Somebody can learn through group discussions, oral presentations, or podcasts. So auditory style. And some might be there for a kinesthetic. Okay, so role playing, note taking, walking meetings, or hands-on activity can be given. So if we have to take care of these learning styles, maybe the visual presentation, video presentations needs to be there. Okay, now let's move further. Why the presentation should be effective? That is very, very important, because that is going to improve the attention span of the participants or of the students. Now you can see the scenario: presenter A, presenter B. So when you are going to do the best visual presentation, these are the tips. Focus on one slide per one idea per slide, and you have to use 6x6 rule. 6x6 means only on a given slide there should not be more than 6 lines, and each line should not have more than 6 words. This is called a 6x6 rule. 6 points on a slide and not more than 6 words in each point. Visual presentation, start with goal. Don't use bullet points. Okay. You can see this type of presentation you can make. It is more engaging. So you have to use the high quality graphics, because graphics can make the students attract rather than the text alone. That you should remember. You can see this. the slide which has been developed. You can find out that this is a picture taken from one of the, maybe from Canva, or maybe there are so many other sites from where you can take a picture. This line which you can see, this line is just a line constructed by us. This is what online education, because you can select the box. From that, you can write something, you can fill the colors. Same way, these are the boxes which have been taken. These are also been taken. It takes time, no doubt. But if you can see this slide, it becomes more professional, more engaging, where you can see. Now you can see this is online education. The same slide. Many times during your presentation, it is like this. But when you take some efforts, it can be converted into this type of slide. Okay. So you need to learn about this, how to do it. We may not get some time to explain each and everything about this. Okay, but human art, you have taken a picture, but it is having a background also coming. So how this art looks very nice. So how you're going to remove the background? Online things are available. Therefore, I am talking on ICT tools. You can use this picture from internet using a ICT tool, and even you can remove this background. So you can have no remove background softwares online, maybe pixlr.com, or you can use onlineimageeditor.com, or you can use remove.bg when that's a background. All are free. Just upload an image, you will get this. Or you can use the PowerPoint latest version where you can remove the background also. A PowerSoft can also be used. Okay, now you can see this picture, teacher A, lecture on topic, and this one is their problem solving exercise for the students to practice. This totally has been taken from story set as an illustration. Now you can see everything has been animated, and this is possible. If you go on storyset.com, you will get the illustrations. You can download those in .eps. If you go on a cloudconvert.com, this EPS file can be converted into SVG file, and this SVG file can be animated, can be utilized. Okay, so that cloud convert will help you. So this type of vector illustrations can be done. Give the animation. So story set you can give. You can use the infographics. Okay, likewise animated and all that. So your presentation will be more active. Okay. Take care of the slide size also. Whenever you are going to teach in a classroom, the aspect ratio should be 4:3. It is called as 10 into 7.5 inch slide. When you go for this one, it should be even online. Now my slides are 16:9 aspect ratio. That's a 10 into 5.63. These are good when you are presenting online. For e-content, this is good. But if you are teaching in the classroom, 10 into 7.5 inch, this is good for as a slide size. So you can see, this is what the presentation in a classroom, this one, you will find this part and this part is empty. So online you can't use, but in a classroom you can use. So here this is 10 into 5.63. So you have to choose the slide size also. Even use the contrast things, because when you have contrast, you can easily read. Color is very, very important. Only on every slide, 2 to 3, not more than 3 colors you should use, but use color palettes which are online available. So you can go to this coolers.co. You will find this palette. So these colors, no, directly you cannot get this one. So if you use this website, you will find this palette. You can use these colors, and you can even mix the colors and use. So various different professional colors you can use by using the color palettes. Okay, so you can see these colors. We can also use colorhunt.co for using these colors. You can use color.adobe.com so that some colors can be utilized from there. So use color palette, copy it, and you can use in your this one also. You can download the color palettes also. Whenever you are doing the visual presentation, 2 or 3 fonts, different fonts. The title font is different. The body font is different. 2 fonts are sufficient. Sometimes you can use 3 font, or otherwise not more than 3 fonts should be used. Okay. All the fonts should be 24 font or larger. You can even use fonts which are available on Google Fonts. You can even embed some fonts. So make it that visual presentation is interactive, adding in links to your presentation. You can even create some slideshow that audience will love to see. Okay, so always remember this: one idea per slide. Start with goal. Don't use bullet points. Use high quality graphics. Use color palettes. Then you have to have this, make it interactive. Okay, and use good fonts. This is what all the things are, and then you can summarize. Okay. So we have already seen how you can improve your visual presentation. I can even give one ICT tool which is very, very important nowadays for the teachers, because you are engaged in so many works. You can see this Gamma. This is AI, artificial intelligence slide maker tool. So Gamma, Design Space, Visme, Tome, or Dectopus. They are all AI-driven slide creators which you can use easily within. They can give 10 slides, 15 slides on a given concept. You can use Chat GPT where you can elaborate your this one, and you can give it to Gamma. Gamma will prepare good slides for you. That slides you can use for your teaching also. So the artificial intelligence tools are available online, which you can use so that your presentation will be improved. Okay. Now you can go for even animations. You can use Animaker or any type of this one, where even story set. There also you can use some animations there. Okay. So video, if you want to create, you can use OBS Studio, Screencast-O-Matic, and there's so many screen recorders and all that. You can use it. Video which you are creating, you can edit it. You can even create your podcast and blogs, which can be there. Okay. So the second part of content creation I have discussed with you. We are going for third part, that is teaching strategies. I will just run through because I think we are getting out of time. Gayatri madam, whenever, or Rukri sir, just inform me whenever the last 5 minutes are remaining, so that I can just revise and stop the things. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So very, very importantly, what you have done is the learning outcomes are ready with you. You have even done your content where you have planned, okay, or you have maybe created the content very nicely, but the content is present. But if you are not going to effectively present that content to the students, that assimilation of that learning, assimilation of that content will not happen with the participants or the students. And therefore, apart from the lecture based instruction, I don't say that lectures are not important. Lectures are important, but only thing is, out of your 60 minutes, it's only 20 minutes lecturing. Other things, the student participation in various activities in classroom is important. So lecture based instruction, yes, you have to go for that. Is one strategy where you are disseminating the information to the students. Second thing is the group discussions and activities. Maybe think, pair, share, or group discussion. Maybe when you want to ask the student regarding something, maybe you want to compare one thing. Give one group one activity where they will discuss what are the pros of this or cons of this, so that every participant will be involved in a concept which you have already taught, and they are telling me. For example, wet granulation and dry granulation. Okay, which method is important? Because you are discussing the tablets, how to types of tablet manufacturing, and so keep the group discussion. The pros and cons will be reviewed by all the students, because all the students are going to discuss on it. and therefore the learning can happen more because student participation is ensured. Same way, case studies you can give or some type of problem you can give which can be solved by that student. Even the strategy of a flipped classroom, blended learning it is called as. In the classroom, you are keeping the activities and you have created the video. That video or the presentation is given to the student as a homework. They are going to watch that video or the slides there at home, and then when they are coming in the classroom, you are conducting the activities like that of group discussion, think, pair, share, maybe a cooperative strategy. Okay, then that becomes a flipped classroom, and this is a very good strategy which you can ensure that every student is participating into that discussion. Okay, now we will move further. Rubrics. Rubrics is another way where you are going to assess the students, and they know that what are the parameters based on which I'm going to be judged or my activity is going to be judged, and they will follow. I have to participate. 4 marks are for that. I need to be showing my participation inside the group discussion, how I am interacting with others. So rubrics is clear. That becomes a teaching strategy only because students earlier only know that on what I am going to be judged. So rubrics becomes one of the strategy. Technology you can integrate because why no, you are just a point has been taught and you want to know whether it has been assimilated. Use quizzes, use count, or use any of this one, mentimeter and all that, and let us have the feedback. Online they are doing it something and you are getting real time data or feedback from them. Cooperative and collaborative type of learning. Many types of this cooperative strategies are there. Fishbowl strategy. Okay, there's so many because we can discuss those strategies, but you can utilize. You can plan for experiential learning. Today, I'm going to take a concept of tablet machine, how it is, and if I will take my batch towards the lab and I'm going to show the machine there, or I'm going to, they will experience it. They will be able to learn more. So experiential type of learning. Formative assessments. Can I go for gamification? Any game I can plan for. So these problem-based learning, project-based learning, these type of teaching strategies you need to apply, and that should come into your teaching plan that for this session, I'm going to use this type of strategy. Then comes the classroom management. Only the desks in this row, blackboard is here or the glassboard is kept here and students are listening to a teacher. These are gone are the days. Maybe for the lecture it's okay, but when there is a group discussion, it should be round table. Sometimes you are this group is just a mere teacher is standing here or some type of activity is going on. So that type of semicircle can be done. Double horseshoe, group pods, pair pods, these type of things can be utilized into the classroom so that the groups can be handled better, so that every student can be taken care of. Okay, so see, understand the tutorial concept of AICTE. No, many times we say that why tutorial rooms are required. So tutorial is for one-to-one engagement with the students in a small group. I can bring them in the tutorial room and there one-to-one engagement with the teacher can happen. They can explain, you can explain, they can ask you questions to you, doubts and some type of activities you can conduct. Therefore, the tutorial rooms are present. And that is the only way by which you can ensure that every student is participating. In a classroom, it is not possible. Okay. So anytime when you are taking a lecture or a practical, practical student interaction is very important. Learning can happen only when the students are attentive. Then there is a two-way communication. Information is getting assimilated, and interaction with other students when they will do then and then only. So maybe after 15 or 20 minutes of lecturing, if I say, come on, whatever we have discussed now, that from this you discuss in pairs. If one person has attended and other has not been attentive, he will be guided by other student. Therefore, interaction should happen in pairs or in groups in given lecture every day. Okay, student engagement and motivation. How you're going to motivate, how you're going to ensure, that is very, very important. And therefore, if you want to ensure the student participant, a simplest way to ask a question, ask them to think in pairs, think in groups, think individually. You can go for a poll. Even WhatsApp poll is there. So there are many types of polls which you can do online there inside the classroom also. So real-time poll, you can think, ask them to think. Give the poll. In poll, if you give A, B, C, D, let them poll it. And when you that they have chosen for a wrong answer, then you have to discuss that concept once more. Discuss why A, B, C, D, all these options were wrong and E was correct. That can be discussed. Let them come to know, and then repoll can be done, and then they will be able to explain it. That ensures the students' participation. Why this is important? Because when we talk of POs, it comes the communication skills. And in the classroom, I am only giving a lecture, they are listening, how the communication skills are going to be developed. So every lecture, there needs to be ensuring of student participation so that communication skills can be improved. Life skills can come, social skill can come, critical thinking skills can come, leader skills can come, team working skills can come, interpersonal skill can come. And therefore, if you are thinking of all these POs, how you are allowing the student interaction inside the classroom is very, very important. Okay, now teachers tools I want to go for. Okay, there are so many collaborating tools which are available which you can use. Okay, I want to go for those. Okay, but wikis, Padlets, Google Drive, murals, these are things by which the students collaboratively can work in a real time from their homes, and therefore they can collaboratively work, and that is a need of the day. Okay, now this is the word wall. The gamification can be done. Now you can see, if you can go for this, wordwall.net from your mobile and give this 7675, or just copy this. I can even copy and put it this one. Just a last activity, so that I will show. I am not going to conduct an activity. I can give message to you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Dai, sir.
Huh.
Sir, we have another 5 minutes. We can wind up the session.
Yeah, this is the last slide which I'm going to show.
Okay? Yes.
Then question answer session.
Actually, sorry to interrupt you. The fantastic session is going on.
No problem. But my time is over. I have seen it. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So you can see. Just want to show you this. I think you can see it on my slide also. So this is a crossword which I had created for community pharmacy students. Okay, maybe on some this one. So you can see this is a free. You can find out on wordwall.net. There are so many quizzes and that you can conduct. So you can see when you click on one, you can see science of monitoring the safety of medicine. You can see here 2, 3 written order by registered medical practitioner to pharmacist. So if they put that word, then only it is going to be. So 1, 2, likewise. So if you want to just take a feedback, that type of five, these ones are there. So you can see within 5 minutes, the students will be engaged in solving a puzzle or a crossword by which you will come to know whether they have learned or not. And even their engagement will be more. Okay. So like type, you can even use the gamification. Okay. Even you can use the LMS. Not many of LMS are present, which are free of cost for your students. Okay. So we have seen various ICT tools and pedagogical techniques in whatever time I could cover. Maybe it was helpful for you. So I take here the opportunity to thank Vijay Jagtap sir, principal, and the coordinator Rukri sir, Madam Atlekar madam, for inviting me here and allowing me to interact with the participants. Hope I could do the justice to this. But let me tell you, the pedagogical techniques are very important. They only will take you for the effective achievement of outcome-based education. That's all. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And I would like to request Dr. Barsi, sir, for the proceeding further session.
Tushar, sir, any question answers might be.
Yes, sir. Yeah, first of all, we will summarize and then we will have a question answer session.
Okay, no issue.
Okay. Is it audible, sir? Yeah.
Yes.
Is it audible? Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I definitely like to respected Dr. Premal Tyre, sir, to give a valuable ICT tools and advanced pedagogy in outcome-based education. I like to summarize. Actually, first slide already, sir, discuss what, sir, how to be the discuss into the presentation. That is, explain need of ICT tools and advanced, discuss components of teaching learning process, apply various ICT tools and pedagogical techniques, and lastly, enhance learning outcomes by effective strategy. I think, sir's brief presentation have shortly and sweetly summarize all the when we achieve learning outcome, then further improvement and continuous improvement we consider out as per outcomes and teaching learning process, assessment as well as improvement. Sir, also give recommend to onto the even if we achieve all the teaching learning process, then why there is the requirement of the improvement. Sir, also conclude personalized learning is needed as one of the example Mentimeter that is sir also give beautifully explain.
ह्याच्यासाठी मी
Sir,
ऑन ठेवते.
sir also explain teaching learning process, learning outcomes, keep in mind with content creation, teaching strategy, classroom management, student interaction, assessment feedback, as well as sir also concluded number of 7 e-models that is elicit, engage, explore, explain, elaborate, evaluate, and extend. Sir also give out some lectures assessment that is the learning outcomes, pedagogy, description of activity, assessment, and references. Sir also highlight some new ICT tools like Gamma, Design Space, Dento, and Dectopus. So with this brief summary, I thanks to the sir, and I also want to the one again request to everyone, even if you have any question. Please delegates, even if you have any question.
Yes, participants can ask the question.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to very thank you to Dr. Ahmed Dias, sir. As usual, I'd attend number of lectures regarding the ICT tools. Dr. Ahmed Dias, sir, after post-COVID, it is a need of ours using the ICT tools and teaching learning pedagogy in the teaching learning, modern teaching learning process. So yesterday I also across this question to previous facilitator, resource person, but today is a right way to I'll ask because in the presentation one slide is ongoing regarding with the gap identification, sir. So I want to clarify regarding what are the curriculum gaps and what are the curricular gap. Identification of curricular and curriculum gap, which will be mapping towards the program specific outcomes or with the program outcome. Curricular, how to find out curricular and curriculum gap. So I want to clarify this curriculum and curricular.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. Sujit sir, you were talking about curricular and curriculum gap.
Curriculum and what is basic difference and how we should map to the program outcome, curricular and curriculum.
So we'll just show you the slide of the curriculum gap. Now, just when we are talking about curriculum, curriculum is something where the syllabus is a part of it. Curriculum covers every activity that needs to be done apart from your syllabus, so that whatever the program outcome you want to achieve from it, because many times no, it first comes that what, being a pharmacist, what are those skills or what are those qualities of pharmacist are required into him so that he can be called as a pharmacist. Now, when we picturize it, certain skills, certain knowledge domain, certain affective domain skills also, or attitudes, I can say, come into play. And when we say these are the things which are required, everything may not be covered from your syllabus. Anything which is, means many times we just go for this one, that curriculum means syllabus. It's not. Syllabus is a part of a curriculum. Curriculum covers everything. It starts from, means syllabus is something, the points which have been given, at least this much should be covered. That is what the syllabus is. But therefore we say out of syllabus or something like that. So when we are talking about this syllabus, we are focusing only on covering those subjects only. But when we are talking about POs, when we are talking about graduate attributes, those are the things which we need to focus. So the curriculum is made up of that. Tomorrow you take a field visit to a hospital or maybe to a pharmaceutical industry, and there is nothing about that in a syllabus which needs to be covered using that experiential learning. So when you want to, so we have to point it out what these are the curriculum gaps, because job opportunities are this. As a pharmacist, he needs to get these skills, and whatever the syllabus has been framed, maybe by PCI, doesn't cover these skills, or whatever the POs which have been given doesn't cover in our syllabus. Therefore, what strategies I am going to do in pedagogy, or how the learning outcomes I am going to frame. See, whenever you are going for a field visit, also your learning outcome should be very, very much proper, because this competency I'm going to get from it, or I'm going to map it with this curriculum gap. So that is what is required.
Sir, according to my understanding, the PO gap is curriculum, and the other subject course gap are the curricular. Is it right or wrong? Means according to my understanding, I have to classify it according.
When we are talking about
that
syllabus,
curriculum gap are the gaps of the POs, and curricular gaps are the gaps of the courses.
See, syllabus, when we are covering, we are converting it to COs or the subjects. Okay, so course will come, Now, when we are going here and when we are achieving these COs, most of the time, these COs which we frame it based on the syllabus.
Yes.
But something which the course outcome which you have taken, which is not been addressed by the syllabus, then we can say this is a, whatever you are talking about, a curricular gap. So here, based on syllabus, here you can achieve it. So here the COs, if there is a gap in the syllabus, therefore the CO is not being achieved, then we can go for this.
Yes, yes.
Now, when we are talking about the POs, you are rightly pointed out, here the curriculum says syllabus is a part of it. It is not full, because we are discussing these all POs, or I can say graduate attributes, or I can say the pharmacist as such, what qualities are required. Those qualities which we are going to decide, all these qualities should come in curriculum. But syllabus won't cover all these things. Therefore, I say, whenever you are going to a lecture or a practical, don't focus on the syllabus, because POs say us, all those POs, those will be taken care if you are going to utilize the right type of pedagogy. Then only these curriculum gaps and POs will be mapped. It is not that by keeping some lectures of that PO, the PO will be developed. It is day in, day out process. What pedagogy you are utilizing there, how you are involving the students, that is dependent on it. Then only your curriculum gaps will be taken care of. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mostly in case of COs, most of the things will be achieved because we are framing the COs based on syllabus only. But as a teacher, you also should have a curricular gaps also, so that you can take beyond the syllabus lectures. Okay.
Because in the SAR, there is one point given in criteria to that identification of gap. So that's why, so what type of the gaps that we had
That
gone
what I
through
said, if you want to identify based on your job opportunities and all that, because see, whatever COs are framed based on your syllabus only. So beyond the syllabus, when you go, why? Because you want to, you have decided that my student, he doesn't have any marketing skill, and that marketing skill I want to hone into all my class. So maybe some communication skill. So how I'm going to do that? So I'm going for beyond the syllabus, or otherwise I can even tell that the syllabus which has been framed, you don't have any authority to change it. The questions are going to come on that, but I feel my student should know this advanced syllabus which has they're in place. Well, it's not in place, but you have identified it. So that can also be beyond syllabus. Yeah, that beyond syllabus lecture can be taken.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. This is
Yeah.
Dr. P. Shwikar.
Sir. Yeah.
Sir, I wanted to ask you what kind of efforts have to be taken by teachers so that the routine day-to-day lecture can become more interesting for students, because I feel that whatever day-to-day experiences we come across, if those are included in the lectures, then in a more proper manner, I think we will be able to deliver our content to the students and make the student interested in a particular subject. Because what happens is, students are from their seniors, they get the information, ये chemistry difficult है, ये difficult है, वो difficult है, तो वो कहीं ना कहीं कम करने के लिए what kind of efforts are to be taken?
Sir, we discussed the lesson plan. Ideally, no lesson plan I just covered. It is because right now what we do in a classroom is we go and teach for 60 or maybe 50 minutes. And we are just thinking that how the syllabus can be covered. But beyond 20-25 minutes, a teacher should not be engaged in conducting a lecture. That is what the pedagogical techniques say. Because if you are lecturing, concept needs to be told to them through lecturing. But once that lecturing has taken place, concept has been given, maybe out of 60 students, 10 students have understood well, they were attentive, they could focus on the lecture. Others were, even in first 10 minutes also, they were not focusing, because that is what happens. And it happens with us also, that I want to engage myself, but still it is not being possible, because some thoughts are coming to my mind, and therefore I'm not being attentive. I'm not able to focus it on what teacher is lecturing to me. But whatever concept has been discussed, can I create some question? Can I create some activity when I'm asking that question and I'm telling that within this group, you are going to discuss on this, and you are going to then come and share what are your thoughts about this. So 4 or 5 people have come together, they are putting the efforts, because here we are ensuring the participation of each and every student. Okay, because sometimes I use in out circle strategy. No, in and out, they are just rotating, and somebody who come in front of there, they are discussing on whatever the question has been asked or what activity has been given. They discuss, and one person is not knowing anything because he was not attentive, but other is knowing it because he has listened it. Therefore, what they will do, that the person who knows, he tells the other person, and then they discuss. And when both of them are knowing, the interest in learning is increased automatically for this one. Now, when you have done this activity, somebody has come and shared it, and if you feel some more thing needs to be covered, once again you can start for 10 minutes some lecturing, and then another activity. So you need to plan for all that 60 minutes, so that the student engagement is possible for 60 minutes and actual participation is taking place. Then only, you rightly pointed out, Pishvikar sir, that real life experiences can be taken there. Those case studies can be discussed there, and that will improve the student engagement. See, we are not interested how many marks they have achieved. We are interested in whether they have understood the concept. That type of thought process should be there in everybody's mind. Thank you, Pishvikar sir, for taking this further. Thank you.
Anyone have question? Yeah, I kindly request to Mr. Tushar Rukari sir to provide virtual certificate to the Dr. Respected IS sir. So,
Thank you very much, Dr. Daya, sir.
Thank you, sir.
now, thank you, sir. Now, session is to at conclusion. As we conclude this enlightening seminar, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the respected Dr. Dayas sir for sharing their immense knowledge and expertise with us. I appreciate all attendees for their active participation and valuable contributions. It's been a pleasure hosting this seminar, and I hope everyone leaves today with a greater understanding and new perspectives on our focused topic onto the new ICT tools. Lastly, I like to everyone be sharp 2 p.m. Join for the next session. I again request for the next session sharp at 2 p.m. You have to join. Thank you, Dr. Dyer, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Dayas, sir. Sir,
Thank
the
you.
certificate
Thank you
copy
all.
I will share with you through email, sir. Dear all participants, the feedback link is shared in the chat box. Yes, Dr. Jagtap, sir. Shall we conclude the session? In the session?
Yes, surely, sir. Dr. Daya, sir, Dr. Jagtap, sir, here.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Thanks for always being there for YBCP and for our team. You're getting my voice, sir?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm very much thankful to you, sir, for inviting me and allowing me to interact with all the participants. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Yes, Tushar, sir, kindly proceed.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.